What's up, guys? It's TechnoViking23 coming to you today with a little bit of commentary about Halo 5, and specifically we're going to be talking about Warzone Firefight, a game mode that was recently added to Halo 5 that a lot of people, myself included, we're really looking forward to, remembering very fondly the firefight modes that existed in Halo Reach and Halo ODST back on the Xbox 360. And I'm actually going to talk about, though, today why I think Halo 5 Firefight is pretty disappointing, and honestly, kind of a mixed bag. There are times that I enjoy it, but for the most part, it's just a miserable experience for me. And the main reason is you are really, really reliant on your teammates and what kind of team group you get when you play Warzone Firefight. The main thing is you basically go through 5 waves that are 5 minutes each. They get harder, and instead of just being swarms and swarms of enemies like the old Firefight, now you actually have bosses and objectives to take care of in each round, and they get progressively harder as you go, to the point where some of the enemies are complete bullet sponges and very hard to kill with your normal weapons. If you don't have very high level requisitions to pull out, you're going to have a really tough time in Firefight when you get past round 2 pretty much. I've played many games of Warzone Firefight, and I think I've only got maybe 2 or 3 actual full completions to get through all 5 rounds. And there's an achievement you can actually get for, I believe, completing 5 full games of Firefight, and I'm finding it really hard to get that achievement completed. And like I said, you're really reliant on your teammates. This game mode is actually quite a bit harder than the old Firefight versions, where it was more, kind of just a horde mode just for fun, and you could, just spam your fuel rod cannon and still be able to kill enemies. But this time it's a lot harder. You get really big boss enemies that come up that are these huge bullet sponges and take forever to kill. And if your teammates aren't kind of concentrating fire on the right enemies, if they're not supporting people that bring out their rec streaks, then it's going to be really difficult. Now this one game I'm in here right now is actually one of the ones that I won. It was a really fun game because people were kind of in tune with each other. They were working as a team. We had several people pull out Scorpions, and then several of us were running Banshees and Ghosts and running support for the Scorpions. So when you have the big wrecks out, like the Race and the Scorpion tanks that are trying to take down the big bosses, you still get a ton of little mob enemies that spawn in, and they can concentrate fire and take out those heavier wrecks really, really quick. So you've got to have support for your bigger wreck streaks that come out there. So it's really good if your team knows what they're doing and they work together. You'll have people running aerial support, you'll have people with support on the ground for the tanks, and you'll have the people with their big wreck streaks that are out there trying to take down the big bosses. But far too often I run into people who spawn in, they'll spawn in with a Warthog and just drive it around the map trying to run people over, trying to run over enemies. They won't stop and let somebody get in the gunnery seat. And that's just a complete waste of rec points. It's a complete waste of calling in a rec streak, because there's really no need for it. If you're driving a Warthog around trying to run enemies over, you're really not doing your team any favors. And you see a lot of that. You see a lot of people who get into this game mode, and I think they're expecting it to be easy like the old Firefight was, where everybody could kind of go lone wolf and just take out hordes of enemies, and it was all about who got the highest score. It's very objective based now with Firefight, and a lot of people, for some reason, in first-person shooters these days seem to have a huge issue when it comes to actually playing objectives. A lot of my friends who play Overwatch are complaining about this constantly, how they get on teams where everybody is just, all they care about is your kill-death ratio. Warzone Firefight, like I said, it's a lot different than it used to be, so it can be difficult for people to pick that up, but you really have to play the objective here. You have to support your teammates. If there's already 2 or 3 Scorpion tanks on the map, don't call in a 4th Scorpion tank. Call in a smaller streak that you can use to support your teammates with and keep those smaller mobs off of them. And that's why, like I said, it's a mixed bag. When I get on teams that know what they're doing, it's very, very enjoyable. But unfortunately, I'd say 80% of the time, it's just miserable. And I can already tell 2 or 3 minutes into the match if we're even going to make it past round 2. Because the Firefight is that difficult, where if you have a team that just doesn't know what they're doing, you will not even get past the second round most of the time, because there's usually some boss enemies or a larger wave of harder enemies that you have to take out. And if your team sucks, you're just not going to do it. So I really don't know if there's a way for them to make it a little bit better in terms of 343 fixing the game. I really wish they would just put it in kind of a normal Firefight mode. I do like this as a game mode. It's just the people, like I said, half the time don't know what they're doing, and it's really hard to get through it when you don't have teammates that play the objective. But if they were to put in just a regular 4 to 6 person Firefight like it was in Halo Reach, I think that would be really cool, and I think that's definitely a game mode that people would like in Halo 5, because a lot of people were just kind of jumping on to kill some enemies, they don't really want to play objectively. If they wanted to do that, they'd go play the normal Warzone mode. So, like I said, mixed bag. It's been fun at times, but really just really aggravating and annoying when I get stuck on those really awful teams who don't know what they're doing, which unfortunately, like I said, is more often than not, and makes for a really frustrating experience overall with the game. So, anyways, guys, let me know if you've been playing Firefight. I know it just came out recently. It hasn't been out for a long time. I came back to Halo 5 to try it out because I really got bored of Halo 5 really, really quick. I still do play Slayer every now and then and play some of the other game modes, but overall as a game, Halo 5 is incredibly disappointing in my eyes. You know, I miss not actually. It's funny because I think I actually like Halo 4 better, even though I hated the multiplayer. I just like the fact that you had Spartan Ops. It gave you so much more playability to the game. Really extended the playtime. The campaign in Halo 5, it's just terrible to me, which sucks because I really like the characters, but I just really don't feel like replaying the campaign at all, whereas with other Halo games, I mean, I've gone back through and played the campaign a ton. But Halo 5 is really disappointing, and I think 343 just to me is slowly bleeding this title out. They're bleeding this franchise out. I really don't know what else they can do with it. I'm actually going to have another video coming up where I talk about how much I hate the requisition system in this game in terms of getting the progression and everything. I'm going to have another video coming about that, so stay tuned for that, guys. Like I said, though, let me know if you guys are playing Firefight, if you enjoy it, if you have any tips for some players out there. Like I said, biggest thing I can tell you if you're going to go in and play Firefight is support your teammates, especially when they pull out their rec streaks. You know, just support those tanks, support those wraiths, get the aerial support too, because that's going to be really helpful when you get into those boss waves towards the end. But anyways, guys, that is my opinion and impression so far of Halo 5 Firefight. Like I said, just a mixed bag, and more often than not, it's incredibly frustrating. So hope you guys are having a great day. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you again next time.